back once again for a nice little Monday morning here, and Bitcoin sliding down the fucking stripper pole. Wait, hold on. Whoops, my bad. Apparently I put on the mix today, not just a singular video in which more music is being played, and hopefully I don't get copyright striked before this video is over. Anyways, I want to say a massive thank you for the feedback on, of course, the newly inducted Beginners TA 101 Ultimate playlist. I just uploaded it to Teachable for right now. I will put it on YouTube as well, but I won't put the full thing on YouTube because honestly, like half of the content I think is just really not relevant to most people because most people just don't give a fuck about that. And then also because I just wanted to get like a quick insight into how people are, interpreting the content and if they like it or not. Is it effective, basically? And so far, so good. And I did include a link to it in the description of this video as well. It's 100% free. It's literally for the cost of $0.00. And it is a playlist that I designed to get you from like, okay, it's not going to go over like how to fucking buy and sell. You know, that's for, you can go to other people for that content. All right. It's a red and green button. It's really that simple. But it does go over, of course, the basics from a fundamental level of zero when it comes to technical analysis, and then actually putting that into a trading strategy and then executing on that strategy. So yeah, if you're newer, I think it's hopefully going to be of significant value to you. If you're more experienced, probably not so much, wouldn't waste my time. But hey, if you just want a little bit of a refresher and you want to take some quizzes as well, fucking go for it, man. It's right there for you. Again, in the link in the description of this video as of this current moment. And yeah, 100% free. So all good. Anyways, let me see. I just completely forgot to bring up my comments over here. My apologies on that, or my apologies to myself. Just fucking up my own streams now, huh? Just fucking up my own streams. What's up, Johnny Mango? Is that Mr. Mango from the Discord? I fucking love that guy. That guy's great. Brazilian, eats steak, has a big old farm. Fucking good guy, man. Fucking good guy. Patrick Ocean, good morning to you as well, man. The train is still running. Indeed, the train is still running. But very few people are at the train station. What's up, Darian Rambutan? Always good to see you, man. Studying your Bible, and soon we'll make options with you. Fuck yeah, man. The options are actually a part of the trading Bible. So like literally everything's included in there. That's for like the full on fucking, trading nerds. But I will, as my next project, make an options 101 playlist. I understand that there's like a significantly lower amount of interested in such a playlist. Like naturally, options are just confusing, and most people don't give a fuck. But for the people who actually are, who actually happen to do give a fuck, well, I do want to create a nice little options playlist for that in the same way that we did the TA 101 playlist, because in my opinion, options really are, if you're going to be more of a consistent trader, if you're going to be more of like a career trader, I think that options are pretty much integral to that. Yes, you can make it work without that, but if you want to be more consistent over a long period of time, and I think have an easier degree of doing that because options can employ a lot more statistics and whatnot, options are going to be the way to do that. Again, I'm not saying that you can't do it with just straight up spot or futures, but it's not optimal. Basically, it's not optimal. You can basically be wrong with options and still make money. That's the beautiful thing about options. Can't do that with futures or spot. Obviously, you will take a loss if you are wrong, of course. Anyways, Elsa is congratulating the USA men's hockey team. Fuck yeah, and also the women's hockey team won as well. Crazy, man, fucking crazy. My brother-in-law actually has this hockey company. It's called Bring Hockey Back, and he was showing me these USA jerseys. They are fucking cool, man. They're super fucking cool. I'm gonna go out and buy one myself a little bit later today. They're great. I fucking love that, man. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. Especially those interviews after the game too, man. So good. So fucking good. It's one of those times where you feel proud to be American yet again. It was a crazy weekend. USA men's and women's hockey teams wins, and then the USA takes out the fucking Mexican head cartel leader. God damn, man. On fucking fire right there. Love it. Fucking love it. What's up, Elsa? What? Oh, and Finland won bronze. Yes, we need to give credit to Finland as well. Finland did indeed win bronze. So good on them. I wonder if they've ever actually won like fully the gold. Sanford gives a good morning to you as well, man. Un poquito loco says, Crown, watched a couple of vids from the new TA 101. Excited to get through the rest. Hell yeah, man. Glad that you're enjoying it. And yeah, a lot of the good stuff is near the end. And like I said, the order of the content actually is enforced, and you do need to take quizzes alongside of it as well. Because actually, I just want to create. I don't want to create like another just TA 101 playlist like a million fucking people have on YouTube, which I don't have like so much of a respect for, to be honest. I want to actually hope to do at least my part to ingrain that content in people's minds. so they can actually like, fucking do something with it rather than just wasting your time on goddamn YouTube. What's up, Cowboy? Says Elf Machine. Good morning to you, man. Hog Spence says, aren't most of the USA teams filled with Canadians? I don't know, maybe, but still a USA team. Anyways, Immaculate Hole says, good morning, Crown. I know you're excited by AI before and set up your website chatbot. Have you played with agentic AI yet, like OpenClaw? I haven't specifically played with OpenClaw just yet, but it is absolutely on my list because agentic AIs, I mean, that just naturally seems like the big thing to me. Of course, that is where all of this is going. And then, I mean, shit, man, things might get even more crazy than there. And in fact, they will very likely get more crazy than that. But, for right now, that'd be fucking phenomenal. If it works in the way that I am told it works, which it sounds like it does, I'm really fucking happy about that. I'm really, really happy about that. Are you bullish on gold yet? Yeah, so I think it's very likely I'm going to be wrong about gold overall. It did get back up to 5,200, which was an area of interest that I was looking for on a rally, but I was, the way that it's looking right here, it's looking like it's less and less likely going to be a rejection. In fact, if it was going to be a bull trap, this should have been it right here at about 51.20. And with gold reclaiming that, I mean, assuming today does close above there, which, got 5.5 hours left to go, basically, it's looking like it probably does. It's going to be hard to hate. It's going to be very, very hard to hate with a closure above 5,200. So yeah, I'm still sticking to my guns for the current moment, but I very well might be wrong. Of course, when we go over to silver, I do still feel very, very confident over here, which also makes me reconsider that, hey, gold probably is going to do the same thing as well, but silver is a lot more obviously still in a bull trap formation here. I think that this thing could easily get up to like 95, 96, maybe even $100, honestly. But upside in the short term, very likely, yes. However, getting back above these highs from early January, I still think that that's quite unlikely here, to be honest with you. So if I'm thinking that on silver, should I also extrapolate that view to gold as well, that this should just be a bull trap sort of rally? I guess yes, but at the same time, gold objectively has a different chart. This is a different chart. It's a more strong chart. And ultimately, it never took out the macro confirmation of a macro top, which was going back down below that early February low at 44.02. So yeah, I think it's very possible I might be wrong in this. Silver, I still do think that I'm going to be on the right side of that one. However, with a rally, intended for right now. So I suppose we shall see. Time shall tell, as always. Immaculate Hole says, if you'd like to put something together, I can hit you up on Discord. I've got several agents currently backtesting and analyzing. That's actually really cool. Yeah, perhaps that would be a good idea, man. I mean, if it's really that fucking good, there are so many things I've been waiting for it to do shit with this that I am actually really excited about that. What do you think of Coinbase and Robinhood, like as exchanges? I don't know. Coinbase still probably the #1 US exchange and probably the most legitimate out of all of them. If any of them are legitimate, I guess Coinbase would be it. Robinhood, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like a place for generally degenerate retail gamblers to, put some money in. I've never used them myself, so I can't really comment too much on that. But yeah, Kevin Scott says stocks are ready for a bear market, crypto leading the way. Yeah, I just think that Bitcoin has downside here. It's the same thing as before. This one continues to fail, any sort of short-term reversal points that we've listed out. So the downside bias remains here. I'm still looking somewhere around $60,000, probably get a wick lower than that. If we go over here to the Rev and Ribbons, I think that the daily time frame, is really just this simple at this point. As long as you're below the median, its downside is a bias. Let it walk down on this lower band right here. And until you see it reclaim the median, that's just the name of the game. Now, it is actually given a little bit of an upside target right here. I don't know why necessarily that is. I think it would be kind of difficult for this thing to get back above the median, the mid band, which is 70,600. And ultimately, this is kind of shaping up to be what? It's shaping up to be a little bit of a short-term bearish formation in the formation or the format of course, a descending triangle, which you can see right here. And this one has, it's more or less, it's in the process of breaking down right now. Has it already broken down? Has it not? Is it Schrodinger's fucking pattern? I think it's very, very likely to break down. There is an implied move to be made off of this, and I imagine it's pointing back down just slightly south of that current low. So about, maybe we see a five handle on this number very quickly, but I'm still looking for the same thing. I don't think Bitcoin is going to have a significant breakdown here. Do I think that we're going to have a 10% move to the downside? Yeah, it's the same thing that I've been saying now for the past couple of weeks. It's been happening in slow motion, but it is happening, and I still think that is, very likely to play out here. But to get Bitcoin to really stay down around these regions, without having a bounce these sort of things, I think is very, very unlikely. In fact, I am looking at this 10-day time frame right here as indicative of the low being in very soon, if not in terms of timing, probably very soon. In terms of price, I think that we've more or less already seen it. If there's another like 5% move to the downside below the current low of $60,000, again, fine, whatever. Like it doesn't really change things for me. But just looking at this from the long term, making this super fucking simple, not bringing on any of our major tools here, but just looking at the 10-day time frame, looking at that white 200 simple moving average, you can see that Bitcoin has loved to dump down to this in the most egregious, the most volatile of times. You know, I'm talking about the dump off over here in 2015 August, coming off the back of the Mt. Gox issues. Then, of course, in the Rona dump times over here, it did perfectly catch that low. Even in 2022 for the FTX and Luna and 3AC and all of these sort of major collapses, you can see Bitcoin, I mean, you know, anywhere around that 200 simple moving average was a beautiful long-term value region. So putting on my long-term investor hat yet again, you know, I do think anything around this region is fair game. This one's rising up rather rapidly. It'll probably be somewhere around about $55,000 on the next closure. And from each and every passing 10-day period after that, well, it's going to go up more and more. So it's like, where do I think Bitcoin's going to put in a low, or where do I think great value is long term? It's the same thing as before, basically between low 60,000 and low 50,000. And that is where I'm going to be putting a lot of my money to work. And of course, you know, it's just going to be a bit of a waiting game right here. But in the short term, I do expect Bitcoin to test the downside. I just don't expect Bitcoin to, you know, significantly breaks, you know, to massively new lows on a higher term time frame closing basis. We got the end of this month of February coming up, not so in not so long. I think we got another like 5 days left. Oops, just drawing fucking lines right there. And again, Bitcoin is doing what? It's resting right on that green 55 EMA. So I like that area for at least providing the impetus for some sideways price action. You know, maybe wicks below, again, fine, but I don't think you're going to be sliding below it in any demonstrable sense that gets real traction, meaning like, you know, a big trendy move down to 30,000, 40,000, 20,000, whatever, without at least trading sideways here for a while. And I think that there is potential for a major macro reversal in this region for reasons that we spoke about many times in the past. But again, when I'm putting on my long-term investor hat, I really like these areas for long-term value. Long-term value to me means 4 to 5 years minimum holding. And personally, I'll be holding these positions for about 9 years from now, is kind of my stated trajectory. So again, if that's not you, then, you know, probably not a good do, to be honest. And of course, I could be wrong at the same time as well. But in terms of what I'm looking for on the next trade, is the same thing as before. You know, I'm looking for a short put spread if and when Bitcoin does make that move to the downside. Now, I think it's in the process of making that move as of right now. We can see the daily time frame is in jeopardy of closing below the daily price action pivot, which is 65,600 or so, which Bitcoin is basically at right now. Any sort of a daily closure below there should play out that descending triangle implied target. Again, somewhere around $60,000, give or take about 1,000 from that, and then come back to it after that. You know, it's one of those things where we're just waiting for what I think is very fucking obvious here. The real question is, and what I'm looking for to take my next position, my next more short-term trading position, if you will, or maybe medium trading position, is when that downside move happens, I want to see something like this: quick down and then quick up intra-week. I want to see a recovery very, very quickly intra-week. And if that happens, I would be happy to do a short put spread. I'll probably do like the 58,000. It depends how low Bitcoin gets first, but I'm just postulating maybe like $58,000 or $57,000 put strike, selling that one, and then buying maybe like the $52,000 put strike. And I'll do it like 2-to-1 in favor of the sell side, something like that. But again, need to see it first. It's the same thing that we did back on over here when Bitcoin was topping out, you know, a little bit above $95,000 on this failed rally attempt when we took that major short call spread. We're just doing the opposite on the other side in this case. And again, right now, volatility is starting to come down. Or sorry, it's not starting to come down, but it is topping out. And so that is also telling me I want to be an option seller in these regions. Not yet. Again, it's going to take a little bit more patience, but we're getting fucking close. We're getting really, really close. And until then, you know, like I said, as a long-term investor, I'm looking at these as value areas. As a medium-term trader, I'm looking at these as, you know, potentially a, you know, a short put spread. So in this case, It's going to take probably another week or two, but I do expect the downside move to happen very likely this week. And then hopefully if we see the recovery this week, then I can take that position and then we can move on from there. But other than that, still the same thing as before. Also, Bitcoin, of course, did fail its weekly stochastic to pivot over here. This one was pretty damn big because we had seen it fail the week previously as well when it was actually lower than it was for that next week. And then, of course, Bitcoin got that fall through. So as of right now, the weekly stochastic momentum pivot is 68,900. So as long as Bitcoin's below there, yeah, it is still downside pressure. Do I think that Bitcoin bears can keep up pressure, for significantly longer in regions like this? Probably not, maybe another week or two, which I think does align with the sort of time schedule that I'm looking at for Bitcoin here. But ultimately, you're going to see a couple of things very likely in this next week or two, I think at max, probably this week, honestly. One, very likely Bitcoin tests the white 200 moving average on the weekly time frame alongside extreme fear reads on the weekly Pesto fear index. And then if we start to see this thing climb back up intra-week, above $60,000, I do expect this pivot to come down significantly. And at that point, you're very likely to have a major low in here. Maybe it's a macro low, but definitely a major low that Bitcoin should trade sideways and up from. And then we'll get the real, and then it's just a game of upside risk instead of downside risk in the short term. But for right now, yeah, very, very short term, intra-week here, I do expect to move to the downside. I still think that we're getting that. Just taking a bit of patience, and that's just the way that Bitcoin kind of plays this game, I guess. Anyways, anything else on the old markets here? What about the HPDR? Well, I guess there's nothing probably new to talk about with the HPDR. Again, this is probably amongst my most favorite of indicators, but there just hasn't been anything significantly new to talk about this as of recent. I mean, just kind of correlating or corroborating the likelihood of that low $60,000 tick, and also bounce would be the 88.2 level right here. That is kind of where the previous dump from early February did find its initial footing. Again, it's not going to amount to that much and really hasn't changed that much, but yeah, there is that. And then of course, if we go over to traditional markets, we can see they're still hanging in there. Last I checked, maybe has been too long ago. Maybe indeed. Yeah, this one's starting to look a lot more like your next lower high right here. So it is a bit in limbo as of the current moment. You got high, you got low, you got lower high, you got higher low, you got lower high again. So you got 3 lower highs in a row and 1 higher low. So it is in limbo here. If it does take out this low at this point now, which is the price action pivot at 67.91 on SPY, I would feel confident enough to call this one a reversal, and price action probably back down around somewhere. I guess the spread circle needs to be raised up a little bit, but somewhere around about 6,600. Test the daily 200 simple right there. Again, for me, that'd likely be an opportunity. Maybe that comes off the back of some world events. In fact, we're probably due for something like that. You got the whole Iran situation, you got the whole fucking Mexico situation. All of these things can be used as the sort of justification for a move lower, I suppose. And also the tariff situation as well, I guess. But yeah, for right now, today's price action is looking more and more like this thing does want to try a little bit of reversal. But again, just like before, it is not confirmed. Now we can actually move up the confirmation point from 67.50 to 67.91, which is effectively last Monday's low. So just a week ago. If we do see that level taken out, yeah, looking for a nice little downside move. NASDAQ futures, same thing over here. This one obviously weaker and makes me a little more confident that, yeah, we will see these things try some downside. But for this one, if you were looking for that same sort of resolution point, it is going to be 24,449 and a quarter, by the way. If you do see something like that, then yeah, I do think that we're getting ready for another move down. I don't know, with the 23 handle, something like that, man. Come back to it after that. Again, NASDAQ futures aren't really leading this market right now, but I do want to acknowledge that coming into the end of this month, if we do start to see the red 5 EMA lost on the monthly timeframes, like it is right now on the NASDAQ and actually not on SPY futures, that would make me pause for maybe a greater correction lower, that takes a few months. But for right now, if it's just NASDAQ and it's not SPY, I'm probably not that concerned, to be honest. And when we go over, of course, to the industrial sector, which is one that actually has been leading this whole market up, that is kind of looking a little bit toppy right there. Not gonna lie, man. Also have, drive a bearish divergence. So I do think in the short term, you will see about 48,300, 48,400 region, probably short-term bounce come somewhere around there. If you are looking at this as a pattern, the price action pivots are marking this one off as a rising wedgeola. And, upon confirmation of this one breaking down, I mean, technically your target would be about 47,200 or so. So I suppose we'll see that. But first things first, you need to actually see, confirmation of breakdown, which we do not have just yet. Anyways, other than that, we can get into the actual comments right now. I've just been rambling on for probably way too fucking long. But before I do that, actually, I forgot to check on signals on the shorter term timeframes here. Let's see. Yeah, daily timeframe for CME showing caretaker's RSI is having some hidden bearish divergence populate there. Basically, any sort of a close here or lower by end of day, that will confirm that. And next move lower, I think, is signed and sealed. Again, with low volatility like this, getting ready to raise up, that is very conducive to a short-term breakdown. Again, all roads are leading to the same destination that we've been speaking about now for like the last 3 weeks. Just taking some time, and that's a lot of markets, man. Just a lot of fucking waiting, to be honest. A lot of fucking waiting, a lot of patience. I'm not a patient person, man. I'm really not a patient person. But I do find if I can just occupy myself with other activities, other hobbies, I can pretend to be patient, even though I'm definitely not. There we go. Are CME gaps no longer relevant? The way that people interpret them is generally completely fucking wrong, but I'm guessing you're referring to the CME gap right here. Are CME gaps relevant? Yes, absolutely. Is your interpretation of CME gaps irrelevant? Probably yes. I'm guessing you looking at this gap right here means, holy shit, we have a gap. Bitcoin must bounce back up to 80,195 immediately, or gaps are irrelevant. No, that's not how gaps work. People have such a fucking warped understanding of gaps. I'm not trying to pick on you or anything like that, but I am hammering on a point that I just see so fucking often from influencers on social media, in which, they just look at a gap and they're like, oh, price let's go back there. Yes, price action will respect that gap if and when it does test it. And at some point, it very likely will. But you cannot in any way, shape, or form ever just make the fucking deduction that because there is a gap, price must go there immediately. Obviously, that's not fucking true because it would have done it, back on over here. And then more importantly, you can have gaps that last for many months, maybe even in some cases, some years. Look, consider this one over here from November of 2024. This left a gap in the 7th of November. That was when Trump got elected. And then that gap wasn't filled until when? Until March of 2025. If you were just blindly targeting that gap, you got fucking wrecked. You got fucking wrecked with no remorse. And of course, there's not just examples like that. There are many other examples. Like you see back on over here, gap lasted for a couple months when it got filled from January to March. If we could go back even to 2018, I certainly remember one over there that took, a year or two to get filled. This one over here took, or this one from December of 2020 didn't get filled until when? Until May of 2022. It's like, yeah, gaps get respected, they get filled, and they usually do produce some, some kind of predictable price action after it gets tested. But you can't just blindly say, oh, it's definitely going to go there because there's a gap. It's like, no, that doesn't fucking work. And sometimes, no, they don't get filled. Guess what? There's a gap actually all the way back on over here from the great year of 2018 and 2019. And has it ever been filled? No, it has not been filled still as of today's date, happening right around here. Anyways, my point is that yes, they do matter, but the interpretation that most people have of these things is so fucking wrong. It makes me mad for whatever reason, which is probably my own issue. Anyways, let's get over to the super chats. I'm slacking as usual. Who do we have first? We got Pizza first. He's looking at XRP 4-hour and daily and the weekly as well. All right. Haven't looked at XRP since last time you asked, so it's probably still where it was before, and it still is indeed where it was before. Same thing as Bitcoin on this one. I do think that you're going to come back down towards this like 120 low. I think that you're also going to bounce around there too. I don't think that you're going to break significantly further south than whatever you saw on the February lows. I think worst case scenario, you see a wick down to like 110, but somewhere between 110 to 120, I'd be looking for this thing to catch its footing again and try for a bounce. Again, I just don't think that you're going to like fucking do this. Like, look. Or at least if it's going to be like that, you're probably going to come down here, bounce again significantly, and then set up the real breakdown, if that even is going to happen. But I'm not so confident on that. Anyways, daily time frame down, 4-hour time frame down. It's just a fucking downtrend, man. Hidden bearish divergence all the way through. Follow the caretaker's road, and downside we go, sir. Downside we go. Again, I'm just looking for a bounce somewhere around this region here, between 110 and 120 or so. Yeah, probably alongside Bitcoin as well. Nicholas Carolyn says, good day, sirs and sirs. What's up, man? Can we take a look at hype on the 12-hour? We can. Can't promise that I have anything nice to say about it, though, but we certainly can look at it. I actually got rid of it off of my list recently, too. Let's see. I guess we go... fuck, man. Which is the right exchange to go to for this great exchange? I don't know. KuCoin, CutCoin. the fucking cuck coin for the cuck trap. We called a high on this one way back on over here in February. I'm still sticking with that call. This is down only from here. It's literally down only from here. This is bad. Like, you can't look at this monthly chart and say, wow, that's great. 12-hour time frame breaking down right now. Okay, breaking, like, it just finished a consolidation and is breaking down. Bullish. No, it's like, no, it wants to go down. It wants to go down, and it wants to go down bad. This thing is almost undoubtedly going to test the $20 low at some point in the next month or two. And after that, I mean, I don't see any reason why this thing isn't going to stop there after a short-term bounce. You know, this thing is going to go for the full retrace. This is just the general rule of the altcoin world. Bet on the full retrace. It almost always happens. Very few, very, very few never go for the full retrace. This thing is going for the full retrace right now. The 12 hours absolutely fucked. You got a downtrend the whole way through. The whole way fucking through. 1, 2, 3 lower highs. Boom. Three strikes, you're fucking out. And a 12-hour silver cross to the downside too. This is bad. This is fucking bad. It's coming down. It wants to go down. Let it go down. Let it go down on you. Seems to have a relative strength for some reason in a sea of red. You're a fool. Sorry, that was mean. Okay, that's a foolish statement. The only green soldier besides gold, it's not green for one. It's down almost 10%, sir. Maybe we're looking at different charts. Yeah, sorry, man. I sincerely just don't see whatever the hell you're seeing. I hope whatever, you know, if you're a position in this thing, that it works out for you. But if you're asking for my opinion, this is obviously breaking down. It's very bad. The clear and obvious tell was actually back on over here in early February. I remember Miss Muradova of this very chat said, can I short hype now? It was right here at 33 bucks. And I said, wait a second, I think it's going to rally a little bit more to about 37, 38 bucks. But after that, yeah, this thing's probably going to top out. That's your proverbial bull trap. This thing is down only, man. It's bad. It's very fucking bad. It is not relatively, I mean, it's relatively strong just in the sense that it isn't already at all-time lows versus most shit coins. But you don't want to be comparing yourself to most shit coins. You want to be comparing yourself to like a real asset. You know, if you're strong versus just a very shitty asset, then I mean, who cares? Like you have the wrong yardstick there. Ray now 97 says, good morning, Crown. XMR on the daily still holding a short from 335. If memory serves me correctly, that's probably a really good position. Let's see. Oh yeah, I do think you're going to get tested though. Actually, at some point. Yeah. I like your position overall, but I do think that you will get tested at some point. Now, long term, I do think that this thing's going to come back down to like 230, maybe even all the way to 200 bucks, somewhere around there. But I would be wary that it wouldn't be asking for too much to get tested on your position here. I mean, it would still be ultimately another lower high. It's basically where your price action pivot is right here. So it's like you could take profit, maybe reposition again, and then get the big move. But that's it's a little bit of a gamble because you're not really guaranteed the bounce. Yeah, ultimately, I'll just say this. I think you're on the right side of the trade. I do think that this thing will test above your entry at some point in the next month. At some point in March, I do think you will get a move up to like 350 or 360. I also think that that's going to be probably a real sell, but I'd just be aware of that. Overall, though, I think you're on the right side of the trade. Overall, I do think that it will go down into like the mid or low twos. Take that as you will, I guess. But yeah, I think overall you had a pretty damn good position there. Yeah, I mean, you're on the right side of the trend here. You got an obvious stop right around 329 or 328.5, according to the price action pivots. Yeah, you can manage that in many different ways, I guess. Let's see. Wait, no, hold on, I skipped someone. Jay Pimmon says, Titan, Indian stock. Okay, been looking at a lot of Indian stocks. I always want to say, though, when we look at Indian stocks, like, obviously I'm not Indian myself. I don't have any real experience in Indian stocks. I'm just going off of like general classical technical analysis principles. And in this case, yeah, this is still bullish. Everything here suggests that it's bullish. Everything here suggests that it wants to go up more, probably to like 4,800 over the next few months or next half year, whatever it ends up being. This is bullish. It's very, very bullish. Where would I have my invalidation? It would be below the January low of 38.43. Until then, this is a breakout like in fucking motion at this exact moment. It's good. It's very good. Again, I don't know what the hell, this thing is, what it does, if it's legit. I don't know about that. I'm just going off of, classical TA in this case. Anyways, you're saying you've been looking at this from mid 25. My entry is 3,100. Target 5,000 in 18 to 24 months. Yeah, somewhere between 4,800 like 5,200, let's say. So I'd probably blindly say, yeah, you'll hit your target. But I'd take a little bit of profit along the way at 4,800 just in case. Or yeah, 4,800, or is it 48,000? No, 4,800. Yeah, something like that, man. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. We got Leon Rudolph next. He says VST, weekly, monthly. Okay. VST. There we go. VST, Vistra Corporation. Kind of a weird one here on the monthly. I do think it's going to bounce over the next couple months back up to like 190 or so. In the short term, however, it is bearish and probably does come down a little bit at least. Maybe fills this gap here at about 145. You do have hidden bearish divergence on the daily RSI, and you also do have this thing topping out underneath the 200 simple. So these things are not good. Trying to see how, like, yeah, I would guess in the short term, you're going to get another move down around like 150, and then you try a bounce in like March or April. But short term, it does want to test some downside. So I'd feel a lot more confident about that. I know you asked about a weekly and a monthly, but yeah, I guess weekly probably tested the downside. Hopefully it bounces there, because at that point I feel very confident about, like a 180 to 190 tick, and then come back to it after that. But obviously, if it does take out your February low, I'm significantly wrong on any sort of a bounce, and it's just bearish as fuck, and you're going to see this thing collapse down to like $100. But for right now, I think it's just a short-term downside move, and then it will bounce. What's up, Sam? He's looking at XRO 0. Okay, XRO on ASX. Got it. Great chart, man. It's literally been down only since fucking 2025 June. Amazing. Maybe amongst the worst declines that we've seen today. What the fuck are you looking at here, man? Okay, I see what you're looking at. So this thing's retesting 2022 lows. Probably going to get a pity bounce somewhere around there, but don't be surprised if it like fully tests those lows first before trying to bounce at $69. Something like that. Hold on, I'm getting a call right now. Let me see what this is about. Hello? Always funny, man. Fucking Chase closed my bank account. They closed all my fucking accounts, okay? They closed all my fucking accounts. Why? I actually really can't figure out why, but if I had to assume anything, at least with a little bit of research, it's because I logged into my account like very often with a VPN from, other countries. It's just, I don't know, man. I use a VPN all the time. Like I'm fucking, skeptical like that, I guess. Anyways, they fucking shut down my account, and now they're calling me back because they're like, do you want to submit a complaint? I'm like, what's there to complain? You guys already shut down my accounts. Like, I don't care at this point. I'm gone. I'm fucking gone, man. Anyways, yeah. So looking at this chart right here, I think that you're going to bounce off of these 2022 lows. But it's like a pity bounce, right? It's not like I'm bullish on this thing reversing back to all-time highs from there. No, and it's probably going to hit those lows and stay at those lows for a while and then bounce. It's going to take some time. So like maybe it ends up looking like this, and then you get a bounce to like $100 or something like that. But in my opinion, like I don't like these plays, to be honest with you. Because this quite literally is a falling knife. I mean, this is straight fucking down $200 to $75 on a stock. Like these are supposed to be legitimate companies, right? And that ain't that ain't a legitimate chart, man. I'll put it that way. No, I did not. All right, I'll go over SILJ. God. All right, SILJ, silver miners. Silver miners, yes, the miners of silver. Short term, this one looks a lot more like a bull trap in the making to me, similar to silver as well. I do think in the short term this week you will see this thing come back down to about $35, maybe a little bit lower than that, like by a few cents. And then I think that you will bounce from there intra week back to like 36. But at the same time, I do think that this is going to probably be the high of your overall trap, overall bounce. So, short term, back down, something like that, probably bounces intra week. I don't think you're going to see much other than that this week, just kind of hold it sideways, maybe close the week at like 36. And then the week after that, you do see this thing come down. Yeah, many drives of bearish divergence on these highs. Yes, you did have that drive of hidden bullish divergence, but all markets end on a drive of hidden bullish divergence into a bull trap. I've seen it a million fucking times at this point, a million fucking times. Then again, if the monthly does close, like, where would it have to close to make me a believer? Above about like 38, I would just capitulate on all my bearish positions on silver. I mean, I don't have any like real positions in silver, just to be very, very clear, but like just my stated positions online. I'd just say, hey, I'm fucking wrong on this one, and this thing is bullish as fuck, and it's going to make new all-time highs. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I do think that this thing is topping out. But hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong at the end of the day. Like I said, I got no skin in the game on these things because I don't trade gold, I don't trade silver, I don't trade commodities. It's not my wheelhouse. Like I said, if I had balls, I'd probably short this thing, but I don't have balls. So it is what it is, man. Your take profit is at $55. Yeah, good luck with that, man. So you're literally targeting a new high by what, 30%? Delusion, my man. No, I'm sorry. Look, I'm being a fucking asshole right now. I just don't think that that's realistic. I would be looking at this as a likely high. But like I said, if I'm wrong, you probably do get your, well, even to get up to like 55, that is pretty far away from current price. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. It does seem kind of far away to me, to be honest. Let's go look at silver spot, see if this thing looks significantly different. Yeah, it does. Looks a little bit, again, weaker here. I do think you're getting the same thing. It pops up here a little bit, maybe even all the way to like $100 and then slams down. I think you're gonna get the same thing on, on that miner as well. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like I said, I don't have any skin in the game on these things, so take it maybe with a grain of salt. But yeah, I'm not necessarily like fully bullish on these, and I'm also not really like, am I bullish on gold? Gold looks objectively better, to be fair. Like, it really does. This is the one that I think I'm most likely to have to admit that I'm wrong on, but I guess we'll find out in the next couple of days, or at least before the end of this week. This also is going to be the monthly closure as well. Anyways, Raina, wait, no. I skipped over a few more. There we go. Aaron Fowl says CNQ, weekly, monthly. Gotcha. CNQ. Canadian Natural Resources. Ah, yes, soon to be American Natural Resources. Kidding, man. Maybe not, but yeah, overall bullish, man. Overall pretty damn good. Assuming that this month closes above that previous high of 56.5 or so, or sorry, 56 and 56.5 actually. It's just a new all-time high party. At that point, I guess we could kind of come up with like a rate of change area of interest to the upside, which would be about $69 to $70. Great numbers right there. Maybe it even goes for more over time, but yeah, overall pretty damn good. Assuming this is the right chart, but I think that it very likely is. Short term, do you see a pullback maybe back down to like 56.5 or $57? Probably yes, but just need to see the monthly close above 56.5. At that point, I'd be betting on, the next few months seeing just general upside, something like that. Overall, pretty decent here, to be fair. Chris Vela says, if gold hasn't topped, Bitcoin gold theory debunked. It would depend on the Bitcoin and gold ratio, not the gold top. I mean, because the top in gold could come at any time this year if it's not already in. This one, yeah, this one's actually continuing to move lower here. So, well, we have to see what it does intra week first. But for right now, yeah, it is looking not so like that. I don't know. Is it going to go all the way for the quarterly 55 EMA? It's at this point, it looks like it probably does. And then hopefully bounces back up, before end of March. So what I kind of be betting on here, if it is going to work out, it looks something like this. You see that initial downside move. Again, that probably correlates with Bitcoin down around maybe like mid 50s for a quick move. gold probably hits up, I don't know, 53, 5400, something like that, and then a quick reversal on both in opposite, in opposite ways. If I see something like that, okay, I'd still be leaning into that sort of Bitcoin gold cycle timing. But for right now, we just don't have enough information until we get the end of March, basically. But I still think it's actually very, very possible, and it is still my personal like primary position. Like that is what I think is most likely to happen. Do I have evidence of that just yet? No, I don't. But that is just a personal thing, not really based off of technical analysis. Anyways, El Pistolero, what's up, man? Ticker NB, Neo Corp. Wait, what? Okay, NB, Neo Developments, actually. Stonk, 2-week monthly, got it. Okay, let's go to the 2-week, bad, monthly, bad. This thing wants to come down, my man. This is like your traditional shitty, illiquid shitcoin popping up intracycle on a lower high and then rejecting there. I think that this thing is going to be a down only from here, man. In the short term, you'll probably have some bounces here and there, but you got a beautiful drive of hidden bearish divergence here on the monthly, I should add, probably even on the quarterly too. No, it's not actually present on the quarterly, to be fair, but the quarterly is just as nasty. I mean, you have the Q4 of 2025 major rejection right here, and then this quarter is looking like a retest of that, and so far the retest has been massively rejected. So I'd be betting on downside here, man. It can spend some time bouncing around this like $5 number. It might take a few weeks, but perhaps it bounces here to like, I don't know, 6.5 and puts another lower high and then comes down. Maybe it just comes down straight from here. Maybe it bounces a little bit higher. Maybe gets a series of bounces off this region and then breaks down. But long term, I'd certainly be betting on a breakdown here. If we fast forward a year, this thing is going to be a lot more closer to like $3 or $2 than it is to, $8, for example. I'd feel very, very strongly about that, man. All right, what else we got? What else we got? We got Ben Duman. Benjamin says Solana on the weekly. Oh God, you must be the last person looking at this thing, man. Yeah, I think the LARP lines are. I think the LARP lines got this one. The LARP lines got him, boys. Just down, man. This thing might even go for the full retrace. Very possible. Very, very possible. So the one, I guess, okay, if I had to come up with like one major point of hopium, which isn't really hopium, but at least it's like, oh, maybe there's a chance, maybe there's a chance in like the Dumb and Dumber sense, right? It might be like a 1 in a million chance, but it's still a chance. Does the monthly close above 94? Does the monthly close above 94 or not? If it does, okay, there's a chance. You got 5 days and 7 hours to do that. Do I think it's going to happen? Personally, no. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this thing wants to test more downside. I think that it is overall in the process of a real major macro reversal here. You have macro lower highs and lower lows. You're about to get a silver cross to the downside on the bi-weekly chart, which is probably the highest term time frame that works on some like this. And do I think I think it's more likely to come back down to like $35-$40 than it is to pop back up above 100 at this point. To be honest, the only way I change my opinion on that is if the monthly literally finished Saturday above 94, 95, whatever the number was. If that happens, yeah, sure. Okay. It's got a chance, you have a legitimate bear trap in at that point. I just think it's very unlikely to happen personally, but yeah. Short term, obviously bearish, hidden bearish divergence on that last lower high. Short term, very likely wants to retest around these lows, maybe lower. I think it's a ticking time bomb. I mean, I think it's going down. The longer time frame that we zoom out to, the more and more likely it is to go down. Great White Hype says circle on the weekly and monthly. How do you find a low? Well, we need to find legitimate and objective signals of a low, and right now it's not. This is just a downtrend, man. You got hidden bearish divergence on another lower high. Characteristics are once again showing us the way. This thing hasn't ever even known what a real uptrend is, man. It's just been down only. So what I'm looking for on a low is not just 1 day or 1 week. It's probably going to take like a month or two of grinding out the lows, and it'll be obvious. And I won't call it on the exact low. I'm going to call it most likely when it's like 10 to 20% off the lows. That's when I'll start to feel, oh shit, this thing really is reversing here. For right now, it's just a fucking slip and slide all the way to the downside. It's the same thing as fucking Gemini. And I'm doing the same thing here as well. Like, I want to position in these. I like these things for the long term, but hell no, I don't like them right here because we just don't have any objective signals of a real macro low in the making just yet. This is just straight down. When it's in falling knife mode, don't fucking buy it. Don't fucking, unless if you just want to cut off your goddamn fingers, but you don't need to do that. And yes, I'm not going to buy the exact low on this one either. But when it does turn around, I'll feel a lot more confident of it. And right now, this is just down. The only position to be taken here is a short. And even then, I don't have the balls to do that, to be honest. So yeah, man, I want to see some obvious reversal signals. I want to see this happen on extremely high volatility. I want to see a major volume spike. I want to see RSIs showing some major bullish divergences. I want to see like some sort of a reversal formation, like an ascending triangle. So that's naturally going to take it's going to take a lot of time on the lows. It's not going to happen all in one day. I'm not in a rush here, but I know for damn sure it ain't fucking right now. That I feel very strongly about. So I'm in the same boat as you, man. I want those for long-term investments, but hell no, do I want them here? Fuck no, man. Anyways, we got Ben Duman. He's back. He's looking at Doggy Daily Weekly. Probably also the last person looking at this too. Steven Schickman's already capitulated. Yeah, man. You are already back down to your 2024 lows. Do you got a pity bounce there or not? I'm inclined to say that if Bitcoin dumps here, this thing's going to dump to, to hell as well. You got hidden bearish divergence on the daily RSI for Caretaker. I think that this thing's more likely to come back down to 8 cents and probably make new lows than it is to have any recovery here. At some point, I kind of expect this one to get back down to your 2022 or 2023 lows. Maybe at that point, it does legitimately try for like a major low there, but I don't think it's right here. I think that this thing is entering into down only territory. I mean, it's been down only for a long time, but it is like going for full retrace territory now, which I do think is very likely to happen here, just to be very blunt. But there will be bounces along the way. Are those playable or not? I think they're very difficult to play, but it's your money at the end of the day. I'd be betting on downside from here, Mom. It's bad. Nicholas Carolyn is back. He's looking at Pippin. Oh God. Oh God. It hurts to look at, man. I love Scottie Pippen as a basketball player and as a person. This actually one of the better charts we've seen today, to be fair, which is a big surprise. But goddamn, why does he got to get into shit coins, man? Why does he got to do that? Yeah, objectively bullish. I mean, you do have a higher low here. You're back around the previous highs. Do I trust it? No, because it is a shit coin. But objectively, from a TA perspective, is it better than pretty much anything else we've seen today? Yeah, at least as far as cryptos goes, it certainly is. Yeah, 5-day might even, well, it's not engulfing, but it does look pretty good. Yeah, I'd be betting on new highs here, I guess. If it plays technically, which maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I mean, it's kind of hard to trust these things, to be honest, but maybe you see $1, maybe you see 90 cents before it tops out. Probably going to get a pullback after retesting 77 cents officially in the short term, but I don't look at that as problematic, especially as long as you're above this higher low here, which is around about $0.50. So yeah, it is what it is, Mom. It is what it is. Sequoia is next. He's looking at VEU. It's an ETF. Okay, let's check it out. I'm not familiar with this one myself. It is, it's the English, the FTSE, but that's English, or sorry, the England's major indice. But what? It's all world. This is too confusing for me. There's an ETF for fucking everything at this point. Daily, little bit of bearish divergence building up right there. You already have one strike right here, and this would be your second strike. So I'd probably be betting on a pullback back down to like 79.5. Monthly is not bearish for whatever this thing really is. It's not bearish. It is bullish objectively still. So yeah, if it does get a short-term pullback, I'd look at that as an opportunity. Overall, this thing is bullish. You got higher lows, especially as long as you're above, like $79. So not like super concerning on a short-term pullback. Long-term, I think this thing still has new highs to go in March. Very likely, probably. I mean, you're already at $80, probably going to get to 90, maybe 100 at that point. But yeah, I'm not really seeing any real signs of topping out just yet, unless if that condition is met that we just laid out. But I guess it's not that concerning right now. Yeah, below $75, I call a high for a while, and come down to like, I don't know, mid to low 70s. It's not even that big of a move. So, like super, super interesting right there, to be honest. But Yeah. I feel like it wasn't that helpful in that one, but yeah, maybe short-term pullback, but I don't think it's that problematic here just yet. Unless you take out last week's low, then it becomes problematic. Jose Munoz, hopefully I'm saying that right, man. Hey, Crown, just wondering, when do you fully confirm a downtrend reversal? You mean downtrend into uptrend or uptrend into downtrend? Do you confirm after breaking few local highs or after breaking higher? Okay, so you mean from downtrend into uptrend. So what almost always happens when a downtrend is reversing into an uptrend is, I want to find an example. What almost always happens, not always, but if I had to bet, it's going to be more than 80% of the time, probably closer to 90% of the time. When you see a downtrend reverse into an uptrend, first you get a higher low, but that does not confirm the reversal itself. But you generally first get the higher low. So actually, here's an even better example right here from 2018. This one's like picture perfect, honestly. Okay, so on the lows right here, Bitcoin puts in the low in like just mid-December, right? When it rallies up, it gets a series of same highs, but higher lows. That is what gives the realistic likelihood of a potential reversal. And it is not technically confirmed as a reversal until you don't just have the higher lows, but you also break those previous same highs. So that doesn't happen until right here. And this one happens on volume. This is like literally textbook picture perfect. Couldn't be more obvious right here. That's almost always how they happen. And so how do I confirm it? I confirm it on this dildo right here. That's where I do it. Now, could you have maybe been more aggressive on looking at the higher lows here and being like, okay, I think it's going to reverse, maybe a position right here. Yeah, you could definitely do that. Just understand you do have more risk there, because where do you manage? I mean, you have to pick the most previous higher low, which is all the way down here. So it's a preference thing at that point. My preference is to wait for the full reversal because those trades are going to last a long time. I mean, this one went from fucking 4,000 all the way up to 14,000. It's big trade, right? So my point is, I don't mind waiting for a little more conservative confirmation of a reversal because it's going to be a big fucking move either way. But yeah, that would be the traditional way to do it. You can front run it a little bit. You're just going to have a little more risk, but you will have more reward if you are right. So yeah, different strokes for different folks, of course. Anyways, let's see. We got Scott Leister. Sorry, man. How are you feeling about NVO here for long-term bags? This is the Novo Nordisk one. Last I looked at it, it was back down around all-time lows. So no, it wasn't. No, this one's just come down a lot. Look, I do think you're going to see this thing start to put in lows kind of between where it's at right now and maybe down to like $36 or somewhere around like mid 30s. But if I'm wrong, it's just down only to like fucking $20, which is going to be really ugly. Would I invest in it? No. So if that quite literally is, okay, if your question quite literally is, would I buy Novo here for long-term bags? No. And I'll explain why. Because I don't think it's going to reverse anytime soon, even if this is around the low, which it is not at the lows right now. This thing is like literally just breaking down to new lows today. Like this is not fucking good. This thing will go lower. I think it's going to at least get to like 36.75, which is the 200 simple on the monthly time frame. And might even reach lower, it might just collapse honestly as well. But for me, for a long-term investable asset, first off, I don't invest in things that do this. I just don't. Or unless if they do something like this, then they need to go through a long period on the lows of going sideways for a long time like this, kind of like what I was looking for over here, which was wrong. But I do think you will get a move like this actually at some point, to be honest with you. But the problem is that it's dead money for a long time. So, this move in which you get a bounce might not happen for like 2-3 years. I mean, this is a monthly time frame. If we're just kind of visually looking at it, maybe around like late 2028 would kind of start to make sense. To me, that's a dead investment because you have so many other opportunities and other things that are moving right now. So you're losing opportunity cost. And there's no guarantee that this thing is going to end up being good long term anyways. I mean, it just, good stocks typically don't do this. But hey, if I was looking for a position, my point is I would wait for it to go sideways for a long time on the lows first, then get that series of higher lows, similar to what we just looked at in the example on Bitcoin. And then, okay, if I really wanted to position, that would make sense to me, but not before then. It's the same thing as like with Gemini or Circle as well. These are straight down charts right now. I don't want to catch the falling knife. So no, I don't like that. And I don't think that is a good long-term behavior. Again, different stroke for different folks, but that's the sort of perception that I have. So, you know, it might be, again, relevant to you or it might not be. I can't make that decision for you, but I would say for me, this would be a no right here. It could be a yes later, but it's absolutely a no right now. There is absolutely zero rush to get into this thing right now, because it is, I can tell you what I feel like the most unlikely thing to happen here is just boom, just straight up from here. Very unlikely. You know, don't think that's going to happen, man. Very, 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 very unlikely. Anyways, Great by Hype is looking at Amazon. Okay. Feels like it's been a very long time since we looked at this one. You're looking at a weekly and a monthly, so very long term. I'm on the quarterly here just by the nature of it. And I do have to say, I do think that this one does want to come down lower. You do have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence here. So my minimum target is that yellow 21 EMA, which is all the way at 170. I know you didn't ask about this time frame, but I do think that that is happening. Monthly time frame has 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence. Again, 55 EMA around 175 and a quarter is kind of where we're looking for. So yeah, I think that you got downside here over the next couple months. Probably gonna end up being an opportunity. I mean, shit, man. I'm gonna set an alert here. It's also gonna be around your weekly 200 simple as well. So a lot of things coming in around that region. I will personally be looking for a position around there for long term, but for right now, yeah, I'm bearish on this one in the short term. If you're like very, very short, you know, you're going to get bounces, you know, here and along the way, but I don't think that's what you're looking for. I think you're probably looking for the more long-term position, in which I'd say, regardless of whether you're, you know, you bounce here or not, I think it will get down to those prices if we, you know, fast forward a few months from here. Something like that, man. Daryl Case is looking at SPX. Okay, we'll look at SPY futures here. And you're looking at specifically the bi-monthly. I actually understand why you're probably asking about that, because the bi-monthly is closing at the end of this month on Friday. And so far it is kind of inconclusive either which way. Not bullish, not bearish, just sideways. So still kind of aligns with my overall thoughts that US markets probably have more upside this year. Yeah, they're looking a little bit weaker. Yeah, they're losing momentum, of course, but I don't think they're done just yet. I think that, you know, a real top comes later this year. Not necessarily right now. And if it does top out right now, I think it's just a short-term downside move that's very likely buyable. At least I will be buying it, which it is looking more and more like it does want to try a short-term downside move. But hey, I'd like to let these things play out first. Oh man. All right. Who else we got? We got Anthony 59754. He's looking at ZEC above $300 again, or $80 next. I don't know. We haven't looked at this one in a long time. So last we looked at it, or a long time we looked at it, we called a high here. Yeah, I'm still going with a macro top call here. That's going to be ugly. I don't know. I don't know in your question, because I could see both of these things happening. To get to $300 again would not be asking too much for this thing. It could easily get there on just another failed bounce, because that's not like it's not like a higher high or anything like that. It doesn't change anything for the long term. Yeah, I'm more bearish than bullish here on the daily time frame. You know, got that same drive of hidden bearish divergence, but you could argue that's already played out because you're already back down around these lows. I mean, it's ugly. $80 is far away, so I don't know if I'd say that that's next. But I guess I see where you're coming from. It's basically the 200 simple on the weekly, right? Do I think you're going to get down there at some point? Probably yes. Probably yes. Let's go to a quarterly maybe. Okay. I actually do think, oh God, I might be so fucking wrong on this, but I think you will hit both of those targets. And I think that you will hit the $300 target first, but you might, it might look something like this, where you come back down to these lows, then bounce to 300, then down. Or it might just be straight down, or it might bounce from here to 300 and then down. I think these scenarios where it hits 300 before coming down to like $100 is a lot more likely than not. So I would go with that. But, you know, does it retest these lows first and then bounce, or does it just bounce from here and then go down? I don't know. But I do feel quite strongly that you will be on the right side of that if you are just looking for somewhere around $100 basically. Other than that, yeah, bi-monthly time frame overall have to be betting on downside, but Do I think that you get maybe one more try at $300? I think it's actually very possible. I would look at that as a sell though, personally. So yeah, that's what kind of makes it difficult. It's like both of them are going to get hit. I do think 300 comes first. But I don't know, maybe gets front run a little bit from 300, something like that. But yeah, long term, the downside is the most obvious thing here. That is the most obvious thing for sure. But the short term, a little bit more convoluted, I guess. Great White Hypes is looking at Tesla on the weekly and monthly. As always, full disclosure, I do own Tesla myself, and it is back down below $400 here. See how the monthly is looking like. Yeah, monthly looks, I mean, look, if the monthly closes below 415, I do have to be looking for further downside here to about 350. Now, keep in mind, for me, I'm in Tesla for much lower, like well below $300. So does it matter so much to me? Not so much, no. And I do think that you still probably put in a higher low somewhere around like 350. So again, assuming that it closes the monthly out below 415. If that happens, then yeah, I think that you do get that tick. And I do think that you will bounce there on a higher low. Other than that, don't really have much to add on to it. Really depends on its ability to close the monthly below 415 or not. In the short term, do I think that you're going to retest around like 385? Probably, yeah. Daily is bearish. Daily has hidden bearish divergence. Looks like it's on a clear path to hit at least a 200 simple here at 385, 387 region. Maybe you get a reversal there. Maybe you don't. If you do, hopefully it happens before the end of this month, because barring that happening, I do think that you will see a markdown here to 350. And honestly, that just looks more likely at this point, either which way. But if it can close above 415 by end of month, okay, I changed my opinion there. It's probably good to go at that point. So yeah. Arms Private, what's up, man? Been a while. What would be your target low for this week for Bitcoin? I mean, your best estimate. Let me get on my crystal ball as always. I always want to say like massive grain of salt with these things. There's no way for me to actually know, yada, yada. You get the idea. I think that Bitcoin will retest about the lows of what we saw in this month in February. Whether that's 59,000, whether that's 61,000, I don't know, but let's just call it $60,000. I think that's quite likely in this point. Hopefully we see a bounce around there. But yeah, if we're just talking about this week, I would say something like that. I think worst case scenario this week, we'd get officially the 200 simple, which is 58,500. And I do think you're going to very likely bounce on that path. So yeah. Let's see. Great Buy Hype is back. He's looking at BE on the weekly and monthly. Gotcha. Symbol B and E, Bloom Energy. Pretty good here, actually. Let's look at the monthly. Decent as well. Not as obviously good. What it may be the bi-monthly. Yeah, if the bi-monthly closes above the previous high, which is 140, let's just call it 148. I'm just bullish. No reason to be bearish on that if that happens. And for right now, daily time frame still holds a bullish pattern. As long as you're above about 132, overall upside is just the more likely game here. And just basically last week's low, 132. As long as you're above there, just up and to the right, it's beautiful. You're on low volatility on what kind of is a cup and handle right here. So I think that this thing gets resolved to the upside, and you do see this thing, make its way to like 180, maybe even $200, in the coming months, assuming that it just doesn't break down below last week's low. That's where I invalidate that opinion. Wild Armtons, sorry man, probably fucking up that name. Bullish weekly and monthly, BLSH. Okay, bullish. Is this a real thing? Not very, not named appropriately, sir. Not named appropriately at all. Yeah, pretty fucking bad. This is a down only chart right here, and it wants to come back down to these lows and probably make new lows. Pretty fucking bad, man. Don't need to look at a weekly or a monthly here. It's bad. It's very fucking bad. Yeah, down, man, down and down and down some more. Mark 333 Shark 7 says, hello, Palantir on the daily time frame. Let's see. I do not hold this thing anymore. I did sell my position in this, back around like 175. Now looking a lot better. Poor little Rosie's coughing in the background. I still think this thing has more downside to go. I think you're at least going to get to like 115 to 117 region. I think the most optimistic the most optimistic higher low would come in around there. But I'm not optimistic personally. I'm looking at the quarterly as a real reversal here, and this thing's going to have some severe downside. I'll tell you what I'm personally looking for here. I would like to get back into Palantir, but certainly not at these prices. I want to see this thing come down below $100. I'll put it this way. I will not buy it anywhere above $100. May I never get a position? It's very possible, but I don't like the risk right here. And in the short term, I think best case scenario to the upside is like 140. This is not good. If anything, the short term wants to break down as well. You should, or you're very close to having hidden bearish divergence there too, but actually technically do not. Maybe bi-monthly. Yeah, just this is not good, man. I think it's very possible in March you might bounce up to like, 140, 145, maybe even 150, on a good day. But this thing's done going up for a while. I personally will be waiting until it gets to 100 or a little bit below 100. Something like that, man. Let's see what else we got. We got Cars, Crypto, and Conspiracies. It says you should try CBD oil for Rosie. I don't know. I don't know. Can dogs even take that? Go to the weed store and just be like, hey, I promise you it's for my dog. It's definitely for my dog. LP Philosopher says XMR. We already looked at that one earlier, man. I believe I was bearish on that one, but you can probably scroll back, I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes and get the full analysis on that. Zonkard says, good morning, Brother Crown. What's up, man? At what price would you get me in on cost? Well, I mean, look, I fucking love Costco, man. Club Costco is the best. Oh my God. I cannot buy a fucking correction of this thing. Oh, look at where my alert was. 808 almost. Where did this thing bottom out at? 844. Fucking idiot, Crown. Again, fucking idiot. Yeah. Hidden bullish divergence on the bi-monthly time frame, which is going to close in 4.5 days on Friday. Any sort of a closure above 941, I'm looking at as good. Hidden bullish divergence on a higher low, bullish after that. I could buy anywhere around fucking 950, man. Weekly looks a little more like a range, I guess. So maybe I do get another move into the 800s, but yeah. The quarterly has that same drive of hidden bullish divergence as possible here. I don't know. I might need to get more aggressive on this. God. Best fucking company, man. Best fucking company. Not only can you get all your foods there, you can get all of your fucking appliances there. You can book your traveling there and get your cars there. And it's actually really well done. It's actually really well done. There is no better place in the world than Costco, okay? No better place. And anyone who doesn't go to Costco, I feel sorry for you. I don't even know how the fuck you live in this world anymore if you don't go to Costco. Like, how do you buy food at a reasonable price if you don't go to Costco? I don't get it. Like, anytime I go to fucking Albertsons or Jewel or Fry's or any of these places, you go in there and immediately, as soon as you step into the grocery store, you get raped. They pull down your pants, they stick in their big old fucking grocery store dildo, and they rape you good. They rape you real fucking good. You go into Costco, and as soon as you walk in the door and you check in, they hand you a green dildo and they say, hey, go rape our fucking food, sir. Like, that sounds great. I'm very happy about that. Yeah. Amazing stock. Amazing company. Amazing. Just fucking amazing. And it is good quality food. It really is good quality food. Like, they actually do have good quality. It's amazing. Kirkland brand. You can buy their fucking clothes. Their clothes are good too. It's insane, man. It's fucking insane. Has there ever been a better store than Costco ever? Answer me, Elsa. Home goods. It's exactly what it sounds like. Degenerate Speculator says, H-bar for us gays looking for a bottom. Okay. There is no universe in which Walmart is better. I'm sorry. H-bar? You're going to... The funny thing about... You're going to find many bottoms here, but you're going to find that there is no bottom that is the ultimate bottom. I mean, look, you're going to get bounces along the way, but this thing wants to go for the full retrace, man. If we fast forward half a year from now, you're a lot more likely to be at 5 cents than you are at like 20 cents. In fact, I don't think this thing ever gets back above 20 cents personally, but that's just my opinion. Quarterly is a real reversal. This thing is a trajectory back down towards these lows, man. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna have many bottoms around this, around the way on this thing, but are they gonna be the bottom? I don't think so. But you will get bounces off of these previous major lows, like 4 cents and like 1 cent over here, or whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, this is very objectively bad. Hymns for gap fill. Wait a second. Am I being trolled right now? Is there a gap fill here? There doesn't. You bastard, you got me. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. Yes, the invest answer is great. Yeah, I've heard about this guy. Yeah, fair enough, man. I've never actually watched it myself, but I've heard about him. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some people who just they will drink the fucking Kool-Aid no matter what, I guess. I mean, shit, man. There's several channels out there in the crypto world that I scratch my head. It's like people are still tuning in. Shit, sometimes they do the same thing for my own channels. Like, goddamn, people are still interested in crypto. But like for these other channels, it's just like every day is the most important day. It's like, what? I can assure you, in trading, you can basically block off like definitely 70% of the days of the calendar and say almost nothing important is going to happen for the long term during these days. The rest, like 30%, kind of important. There's probably about 15 to 20% that actually really are important days. Really, really important days. But everything else just not important. I have heard Sam's Club is really, really good, but Sam's Club's quality isn't as good as Costco. But yeah, I do understand Sam's Club. They're good as well, man. Look, I'm just making fucking jokes on the internet, man. Don't take it too seriously. There will be no jokes. Jack in the Wick says, Olympics are different from NHL. There are no Canadians on Team USA for the Olympics. So congratulations, Team USA. And that's coming from a Canadian. Awesome, man. Yeah. Dude, respect. I mean, that's cool. Look, everyone knows Canada is still among the best on hockey. Like, they're always going to be fucking good, man. They always are. They always are. Because Canada and hockey go together like peanut butter and jelly. They're the same thing. Hockey in Canada, they're always going to be competitive. That's why it's such a big deal for us in the US to beat Canada at their sport when we know it's their sport. And likely next year is going to go back to being their sport anyways. So let us just enjoy a few days of this celebration. IKEA is a good store too, not gonna lie. IKEA is very, very good. Very, very nice. Ben's chair plays hockey. Hockey's a badass sport, man. I never got into it though myself. And honestly, learning how to fucking ice skate is difficult enough. So it blows my mind that people are able to fucking play hockey doing that as well. Insane, man. Great buy. Hype wants to look at Lunar. We can do that. Let's see. Where is it today? 17.5. Again, I am still a holder of this because it is not broken. Mine validation point, which is $15, continues to kind of bounce from there. So far, so good, but it's definitely testing it a few times. There's no doubt about that, man. Closing out the month, something like this, not gonna be terrible, but still $15 is my line in the sand. Below there, I will capitulate on my position. That's basically it. Yeah, some Swedish meatballs. They are really good, man. They are really good. Crown, do you play or recommend any pattern recognition games? I don't know if this counts as a pattern recognition game, but like RTSs and grand strategy games, I actually really, really like. Is it a pattern game? I don't know about that, but haven't played any recently though. But one of my favorite games of all time is Total War Medieval 2. It's fucking incredible, man. And also Bannerlord. Bannerlord's fucking amazing too. Oh god. And Dark Souls 3 is the best. It's the best. It's the best. It's so good. I don't know if they help with pattern recognition. I also don't know if you I don't even know if pattern recognition is the best thing in trading, because sometimes your eyes will see things that don't actually exist there, because your brain is a pattern recognition system. I mean, that's where the term like God, do I need to? I probably don't need to get into this because it's just going to be annoying autistic stuff that I care about that probably no one else cares about. So maybe I don't. I'm about to get a prime fillet from. I actually had a fucking phenomenal New York strip from Costco last week. It was maybe the best meat I've had at least that I can remember. That's not from a restaurant. It was fucking good, dude. It was really, really good, and a great price. Kmart. Is Kmart still a thing? Kmart, I don't think I've seen a Kmart since I was like 10. Kmart is probably from Simpsons because Simpsons are from like 30 years ago. But layer 0, we can look at it. Bad. Pretty another down only chart, man. Literally putting in a lower high as we speak, getting ready for yet another run at the lows at 120 and probably getting ready for new all-time lows anyways. Fetch, man, a lot of crypto requests today, which is kind of sad. What do you know? Another down only fucking chart. Look, man, if it's crypto, 98% of the time you can just assume down only. This one wants to come back down to the 10-cent lows and probably make new lows from there. This was the pity bounce from the previous all-time low. I think it's ready now to fully break down. This is really fucking bad. Really fucking bad. A Genetics says, thoughts on Blackstone? Sure. I don't think I've looked at this one, at least in recent memory. Yeah, clear reversal here with a lower high and lower low on the weekly and monthly. This is bad. This is a real reversal here. So you get the lower high first, then you break the previous low. Yeah, there's a confirmation. I mean, technically it hasn't closed yet, but this is looking very likely to me. Okay, so barring any sort of a heroic reclaim of like 123 before end of month here, which ends on Friday for traditional markets, I would feel very confident to say this thing's going to come back down to like, you know, $100, probably below $100. Somewhere down around here for the next major low. Maybe that takes a month, maybe it takes 2 months, maybe it takes 3 months. I don't fucking know, but I'd be looking somewhere around there. Yeah, and to be honest, I think waiting for the monthly closure is a formality. This thing wants to come down. This is a yearly top right here. So it might even be coming down a lot more than that over time. Very possible. Oh, you want to laugh? Pull up the Fetch BTC chart on Binance. See the giant wick. Oh God, I can only imagine. Probably another one of these. Can't even find it actually. Huh, that's sad. Well, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yeah, we actually did look at Solana. It's pretty bad. But I don't know, if you scroll back maybe like 20, 30 minutes now, it's definitely there somewhere. I can assure you of that. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we end things on that note. Probably good enough for today. Or ExxonMobil. All right, we'll look at this one and then we'll call it a day. It just seems like most people are talking shit on this Invest Answers guy. Like I said, I actually never have watched him. I don't really know anything about him. Just heard other people talk about him. Usually not in the best light, but you know, whatever. It's not my job to be the fucking internet arbiter. This is bullish. Don't need to be super complicated or anything like that. This is bullish. We could make an implied target based off of this, and you're actually already at the first implied target, which is 153. You've since backed off of it, so it's getting respected. I think that you'll probably spend, I don't know, maybe a week or two consolidating, but this thing I think still has some new highs to go. I think that you do get up to like 170, maybe 180. Yeah, overall pretty good. No reason to be bearish on this thing. Maybe get a short-term pullback to 130 or 135, but I don't think that that's super problematic. I think this thing has more upside overall. It's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good, man. FET BTC. Okay, let's try this one out. We'll end on this one. I'm expecting the most shitty of shitty charts. And what do you know? We have another down only chart. Amazing. Fucking amazing. Fucking incredible. Yeah. Need I say more? Need I say more indeed. All right, sirs and zers. I think we're going to end things on that note. It's been a nice little Monday morning speaking with everyone as always. It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, it's all good. Hip Hop Anonymous, man. It's all good. But yeah, we'll end things on that note. Like I said, if you're just joining in late here, I did release my free TI 101 Ultimate Beginners playlist. You can find it in literally the description of this video right here. It's literally $0.00. All you need to do is just sign up. I will release it on YouTube as well, but only about half the program on YouTube. And also obviously on YouTube, I can't do the quizzes alongside of it. So yeah, it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Bear Nutrition? Good to see you, man, as well. So yeah, you know, if you're more of a beginner, if you just want, you know, a bit of a touch up on the ultimate, like real baseline fundamentals, I think that could be very, very useful. If you're more advanced, if you're intermediate, probably not super useful, but hey, feel free during these sort of boring times, you know, could be useful. And other than that, want to wish everyone the best as always. Take care.